Well, what have we got here? This is fascinating. This is an old grader, Caterpillar, or 140. Pretty rusty, but she's seen a bit of work in the outback. I'll just see if I can get on board and have a little look-see. Not easy to get up here. You come on over, I'll tell you a story about this. This takes me back many years, in fact 1964, 49 years ago. I was on holidays at university and it was in May, I think, May holidays. And I had a bloke who was my landlord, and he wanted me to go to Alice Springs and help him drive a grader all the way from Alice Springs down to Adelaide. I thought it was a great opportunity for adventure. So a friend of mine, David, and myself went with him. We drove up in a car, and it was a rough trip up because the road then between Pimba and Alice Springs was completely dirt. There was no bitumen road. So there were hundreds of kilometres of dirt roads up and down through creek beds to get to Alice Springs. When we get there, this guy had bought not only the grader, but he bought a Scoopmobile as well, and so we hooked the two together, and then we hooked a car on the back of that. So we had these three vehicles all hooked together, and we started off down this highway towards Adelaide. We could only do 8 miles an hour, and it took us nearly 2 weeks to get down to Adelaide. But we had some great adventures along the way, and we did a lot of shared driving. One of us would be sleeping in the car at the back while the other one was driving. And on one occasion my friend David was driving, and he went down a steep gully into a creek, and the engine was really revving high, and so he thought, oh good, I can change it into a higher gear. So he changed it into a higher gear, only to find that when we got to the bottom of the valley and we tried to climb out, the gear failed and he couldn't get it back. It didn't have synchronised gears, and he couldn't get it back, and the whole outfit rolled back onto the car, which was in the back of the line. And at that point the owner of the vehicles was so furious. He was an Italian guy called Peter. He says to David, "You're fired." On the spot he fired him, left him in the middle of the wilderness, and Peter and I brought the rig all the way back to Adelaide. My friend had to steal a ride on a railway. He got on the railway and hid in the toilets when the guard came along, and he got a ride back to Adelaide by hiding in the toilets of this passenger train. So there's a little story from 1964, driving a grader all the way on dirt roads, Alice Springs down to Adelaide.